my my show page. Hey guys, it's Ted Bogert with the Ted Show. We are back. I finally get to have this wonderful young lady, Paulina Hurtado, on the show after I had to unceremoniously reschedule her yesterday because my water heater broke. This is my crazy world right now. And she was kind enough to agree to do it today. She's got a great story. I love this topic. I was telling her before we went live, defy mediocrity, deliver extraordinary. And we're going to talk all about her journey, and we're going to learn about Paulina. So welcome, Paulina.
Hi, Ted. How are you? Thank you so much for having me here. I really appreciate it. I'm honored. I truly am. I love your shows. I've been watching them for a few months now, and they are amazing. They're interactive, and they just bring so much value.
I love that. We're going to record that. I'm going to hold on to that one for a promo snippet later. Thank you. I'm very excited to have you on. Arlene loves you to death. Arlene, our queen at the home team of Freedom Mortgage.
I love Arlene, and you
She's
guys
just
too.
amazing. So big shout out to her.
Yes.
But I want to know about you. So give us a little background on you. You obviously weren't born and then had a Century 21 Barbie as a girl. So what were your dreams and aspirations back in the day?
Okay, so I was born in Ecuador, and I came here when I was 13 years old after my father and my stepmom lost pretty much everything over there, and they had to start over here. I entered into school. I spoke very little, English, and
What was that like coming over here and not speaking English? Was it difficult? Did we make it easy, or was it just really difficult?
You know what? Some people were very welcoming, and some people were actually very even discriminatory. Some people even called me a spick, but I had no idea what that was. So to me, it was like, okay. But you know what? Words can only offend you if you let them, and if you even know what they mean. And back then, I had no idea what they meant, so I went on about my business. When I turned 16 years old, I started at Bank of America working in the collections department. And
at 16?
At 16.
What was that like? So collections department, guys, if you've never, well, anybody who's been on the receiving end of it, you know that's a crazy place. But I can't imagine the amount of negativity you got back. Were you talking to people or working behind the scenes?
You know what? It was one of the toughest jobs I had. And to be my first job, it was crazy. Because when you're calling people and they're telling you, you know what, come and repossess my house. I mean, come and foreclose on my house or come and repossess my car. I don't care. I have cancer and I'm dying. For a 16-year-old, that was very shocking. And I remember that was one of my first phone calls and getting off the phone and just crying. And, I was like, I can't do this. And my dad is like, yes, you can, because this is a great opportunity that you're giving at 16 years of age. Because not every 16-year-old gets to go work at a bank as their first job. And I made it through, and I knew very.
You decided you did not want to do collections for the rest of your life. So where does it take you next? You got a taste of finance and banking.
Well, I stayed in banking because then I went, I transitioned there, when I was 18 to First Union back then, which now is Wells Fargo. It was First Union, Wachovia, and then Wells Fargo. And I was a teller. And then that's where I learned about mortgages. I got my mortgage license. And
I did not know that. Very cool. Yes. And so you escaped somehow.
You want to know how many loans I did in mortgage?
Tell me.
One.
And that was enough? You're like, forget it.
That was it. And then, you know what? Actually, I thought that mortgages was going to be my career. And my dad, who's very persistent, used to call me at night and said, you know what, you got to get your real estate license. And I said, no, Dad, I'm not going to get my real estate license. It's not where I want to be. And he's like, no, you have to. And he would call me because he used to work at AT&T in the call taking position. He would call me and he would quiz me every single night. And then I got my real estate license. And I started both real estate and mortgages at the same time. And very quickly I realized mortgages was not for me. So thanks to him, when I was 21, I got my real estate license.
Isn't that amazing how Dad knew? Like, did he have experience in in real estate and he thought that that's a great place for you. What was his reason behind really wanting you to get involved in real estate? Do you know?
He had gotten his real estate license like maybe like 3 months before I got mine. And he just realized that I'm very much of a people person. So with that, he always thought that I was either going to become an attorney, and then when he found the real estate, he's like, this would be perfect for you. You have you have a huge charisma, and he's like, eventually you can own your own business. My dad was very much to, teaching us to have entrepreneurship and not so much that, employee mindset. So from very little, he always encouraged us to have our business.
It's one thing to like get the test, right? You take the test, you get your license, and then tell them how easy it was to make your million in the first month.
Well, believe it or not, I did make for about 2 sales the first month. So within 45 days, I started the real estate market when the market started doing this, right? So I was never in the place where like, where you were at one closing and then the next table you were doing another closing. I was not in that era. I started when the market started going down. And, when condo conversions were going on. And, I learned, I was blessed. I had already bought my first property when I was 18.
Wow.
So my dad's motto was this: if you're going to move out, I don't care if you move out and you're married, but if you move out, you're going to move out into your own place. You're not moving out to renting. So when I wanted to move out when I was 18, he's like, okay, so let's start looking for an apartment for you to buy.
That's so important, teaching you early. I love that you had that entrepreneurial kind of spirit from your dad, because a lot of people don't. My parents didn't tell me anything or encourage me to go buy anything, for sure. And it's so important to begin that journey earlier, because you get used to it. It becomes a lifestyle, and you get accustomed to owning and seeing the power of owning properties. And so you obviously went on that path. But here's the thing. Let me ask you, how did you persevere through it, though? Because you said you started on the downtrend and it got really down. It was down, down, down. What did you do in order for you to survive that?
We used to do a lot of rentals, but more than anything, I think the attitude that, the go-getting, like my life has not been all, I'm telling you all the positive things because I focus more on the positive than the negative. But on the opposite side, I do come from a background with, with an alcoholic mom and an abusive mother. So, I had 2 choices. I could either go the route of my dad or I could go the route of my mom. And I just chose that, this was a much better route and it was going to help me. Now I have a great relationship with my mom and we have a good relationship and you overcome that. But, I think one of the lessons that I got to tell everybody is you got to know your why. Like where do you want to go? And that has to be the reason why you get up in the morning and that you keep going, because everybody has their off days. I entered into a huge depression when I was 18 years old. And, I've shared it one other time, but, I tried to commit suicide. And, I remember that day. And I remember one of the things that helped me that day is that, God, and that's when I got saved and I have a relationship with God, but God showed me that day what would happen if my dad walked in and how would he feel if his daughter was not alive. And that helped me overcome that depression and then realize that through your life, you're going to get times in your life that you're going to get depressed because it's just, that's part of life.
It is.
And it's up to you to choose and recognize it. Like now I'm like, okay, this is one of my, off days where I'm like, a little depressed or this is what's going on. And then be able to recognize that and say, you know what, it's okay. You're going to give yourself that time, but 24 hours, 48 hours, whatever amount of time you want to give yourself. But after those 48 hours, you got to get up and keep going.
I think, first of all, thank you for being brave enough to share that, because I think there's such a horrible stigma on talking about hey, I'm depressed today, I'm anxious today, I'm worried, I'm upset, because we are so busy trying to show everybody, especially on social media, that we're all fantastic and, you know, we look great and we're having the best time in our parties and our houses and the food. And really, people are afraid to show or to admit that they're having not a great day, maybe not a great week, maybe not a great time since the pandemic started, for example. And so I think we need to encourage people, and you sharing your story is an encouragement. So thank you for that, because I'm guaranteed that somebody will watch that who has either had the same thoughts or feeling really bad and say, you know what, if she can do it, I can do it. I need to refocus. So that is bravo to you. I think that's so important. We need to talk about it more.
No, thank you. And you know what? I have not, like I said, I was invited to a podcast about 6 months ago, and that was the first time that I shared that to the public, right? And then afterwards, you do go through that process where you're like, oh my God, I can't believe I shared that. What are people going to think of me? What are people going to say? And then I realized, you know what? If I could share my story with people, right? And if I could help one person make a decision of continuing with their life rather than ending their life, because there's always a light at the end of the tunnel. Like once you've hit rock bottom, you can only go up from there. You don't go past that. Like I said, then I became, so when I was 21 years old, I was, full of love and full of fire. And that's when I got my real estate license. And I was single. I didn't have kids, so I could work 7 days a week, 12-hour days. And that's what I did.
So you put the blood, sweat, and tears into it. You really built your business, took the time. I think a lot of people, they get into real estate. It looks glamorous. Anything real estate, mortgage. We have a lot of events that we go to. It looks pretty. We're selling these gorgeous homes usually. And I think people don't realize that there is so much work that goes on behind there. Are you feeling, I'll ask you I'm not really big on talking about the market, but I want to ask you, I'd like to ask everybody who's in real estate this, what are you seeing now in the market? What are you feeling? Are you feeling like it's still really thriving? Are you feeling a slowdown? Is it a seller's market, a buyer's market? Give us maybe a 411 on that.
Well, I'm going to talk to you a little bit of kind of like months of supply of inventory. So in the single family houses, we are hotter than we've been. And you're looking at, single family houses are taking 30 days, a month to a month and a half to sell. So those are very quick. So a little bit about months of supply inventory, anything that's less than 5 months, it's a seller's market. Between 5 and 7 months is a transition market, and over 7 months is a buyer's market. At least here in South Florida. I can talk about South Florida. Everywhere else, we would have to do the search. In the condominium, however, you're looking at about 5 months of inventory. So you have a little bit more of negotiating skills, and you have a little more of ability to be able to negotiate on the condos than you do on the single family houses. Single family houses, we're getting multiple offers. We're even starting to use escalation clauses, which, I don't know if I'm sure you know what escalation clause is.
Yes.
And that's what it is. And they usually get an offer within 72 hours. So it just really depends which market you're in. But I mean, we're busier than ever. April was a little bit slow because of COVID. But other than that, we're busier than ever. I think everybody wants to move from the condos to the single family houses because they don't want to get stuck in the condominium if, God forbid, we have to close down again.
Right now, being a homeowner with the water heater thing, I wish I had a condo.
I know,
I'm
right?
a little over the home ownership scenario right now, the single family home anyway. All right, let's talk about the topic, because mediocrity to me is like the worst thing you can be. Middle of the road, gray, whatever they call it. Mediocrity is so bad. So defying mediocrity and delivering extraordinary. And I know that is a theme for your office, for your brand. Talk to us a little bit about that.
So, you know what? We became Century 21 in January because we were an independent office before. And one of the things that I loved about the brand, and I felt so much in love about the brand, is that defy mediocrity, deliver extraordinary. Why? Because to me, you could be a mediocre agent. You could be a mediocre father. You could be, you could be a mediocre anything that you want to be. But, first of all, you have to determine what is mediocrity to you. And then based on that, you're like, no, if I would not tolerate that, somebody being mediocre like that. Then you can analyze yourself, auto-analyze yourself and be like, okay, now I'm going to deliver extraordinary. And that goes with the brand and for the clients. And, we have about 50 agents. I'm a little bit more in the numbers. Out of my 50 agents, about 35 are actually working full time and doing everything that they're supposed to do.
Wow.
The other ones are usually referral agents. I know it's usually like 10% that you get off the brokerage. Yeah. And why is that? Is because I do push my agents to the fullest. And I don't hire everybody. I'm very selective with the people that we hire because I want to make sure that they keep that environment and they realize that, when I get a call, when somebody says, hey, you're working for Paulina Hurtado, the offer is going to get accepted because they know the reputation that we have. And it's already happening. A lot of the stuff is happening. Client people, other brokerages that know me, they're, oh, you work for Paulina. Okay, you're good. Send me the offer. We know that your client is good. Your client is approved by a great lender. We know that everything is set.
I have never heard that before. That is so powerful. Let's recap that really fast because that's such an important nugget right there. You bring on people that fit the environment that you want to create and sustain. And there's a certain level, a certain type of agent. And because you are honest about that and you are trying to deliver the extraordinary and everybody knows the message, people out in the community will accept an offer because they know it's coming from you and your agents. That is powerful stuff.
Yeah, powerful. I think, and I think the most important thing is the team. We all work together as a team here, all 35 or 50 agents. We make things happen together. We got over COVID-19 together. And, there's no selfishness in here in the office. We don't step on each other's toes. And more than anything, we are so happy. Everybody, like, one of my agents is happy that the other one is succeeding. They don't get jealous, which is most, sometimes in the environment that you have is those people get like jealous, like, oh my God, he succeeded. Why not me? No, my agents have learned that they have to take responsibilities. If you're not where you're supposed to be, it's because you're not doing what you're supposed to do, because you have all the tools and you have everything available to you to be able to be 100% successful.
I love that. All right. So let's talk about what you do on the side. What is your passion? You mentioned dancing. So tell me what kind of dancing you love, Paulina.
Well, I love merengue and salsa, and I love dancing. I'm married 12 years. With a wonderful husband, and I have two beautiful daughters, a 3-year-old and a 2-year-old, and they share that same passion for dancing. And during COVID-19, I broke my ankle in 3 different places. Had to go to the hospital, and I think that one of the biggest, hardest part during that was the fact that I couldn't dance with them. Now I'm back on my feet, so now we're starting up again.
The merengue is the one where your hips have to move, right?
Yes, to the side to side.
So I have tried that maybe once or twice, and finally the dance instructor, or it just could have been somebody who felt sorry for me in the audience, came over and stood behind me and moved my hips for me in the way that I needed to, because it's all about that. It's a beautiful dance to watch. And I love to see people dance. I am horrible at all dancing, so I usually stand in the corner and applaud. What have you done? What have you done for COVID, during COVID and everything else, to keep grounded? What have you done for you, Paulina, personally? Journaling? Do you meditate? Do you do yoga? What have you done to kind of keep yourself positive and creative?
I have 2 toddlers, pretty much. So I spend a lot of time with them. We spend, thank God, we built our pool, so we spend a lot of time in the pool. I love the water too. And it's just, that's what keeps me sane. Like when I'm able to get home to them and just play with them, or, spend some time with my husband, watch a couple of movies, which we don't watch a lot, but, watch a couple of movies. That's what gives me that life, and family, spending time with family. So that's to me, I guess those are my hobbies, right? And travel before COVID, but now we can do that. We can do
I
that
know.
very little.
Soon, one day, maybe,
Yeah.
maybe. All right. So if people want to learn more about you, want to reach out to you, want to maybe talk about business or anything else, what's the best way for them to reach you?
My phone number is 754-581-3452. You can always follow me on Facebook at Paulina Hurtado. We have a YouTube channel, Century 21 Global Connections Realty, as well.
Fantastic. Thank you so much for being patient with me yesterday. Thank you for sharing your story. Definitely touched me. I appreciate that very much. You are a joy. Arlene was 1,000% right. You're amazing.
Thank
Thank you
you,
so much
Ted.
for being on the show.
Ted, thank you so much for having me. Again, it's truly an honor, and I love you guys. I love Arlene if she's listening. We send you tons and tons of hugs. We miss you. Come down to Florida and move here. And
Right?
thank you, Ted. Yeah, right. She should move here, isn't it?
I
Like
keep
either
telling her,
Orlando
you and
or
me
here.
both. All right, Paulina Hurtado, thank you so much. Guys, we'll be back later on this week. Please reach out to Paulina. Support our business partners and our guests that come on. It's super important that we all support each other. You're a dream. Thank you so much. Bye,
Thank you
guys.
so much, Ted. Have a